T.J. Hooker returns next week at this time. Now a special presentation.
Please support the Word Balloon podcast by going to patreon.com/wordballoon. Become a part of the League of Word Balloon listeners. That's patreon.com/wordballoon. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Always happy to have a new chat and a new reason to talk to Taki, Soma, and Mike Oeming. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Taki, I'm thrilled because usually, it's art stuff when I'm talking about a new project for you. But you've got a Comixology original that Oeming is the extra freight doing the cover for Alienated.
Yes.
Very cool. You and John Broglia?
Yes. So Mike is the cover artist and John Broglia is the interior artist, and I color both of their work, and that's Alienated.
And you wrote it.
Well, yes.
Okay.
I wrote it as well.
Yeah, and you wrote it. Absolutely.
And I lettered it.
Wow. Man,
Yeah.
Triple threat. Very nice. Not since Oscar Robinson in his early days in the WNBA had we seen a triple threat. What was the inspiration for this story?
So I just woke up one day and I had this like just vision in my head, like of a bunch of aliens appeared out of nowhere, and we all wake up and they're all dead. And they're just littered the streets. And that's all I had. And it was intriguing enough. I remember telling Mike about it, like, oh, I just woke up with this idea with a little picture in my head. And I don't know, I really like that picture in my head. So I really want to figure this out. And we called it like Dead Aliens for the longest time.
Hashtag Dead Aliens.
Hashtag Dead Aliens for the longest time. And but clearly it was not the right name for it. But yeah, it just kind of started from there. And I don't know, I just started asking questions like, well, where did they come from? How did they get here? Why do they die? And what what happened? You know? And yeah, so it just kind of went from there. And I also wanted to take an opportunity to like really look at like what sacrifice really means. And that'll come in, more give you more clarity as you read the book, why I chose that theme. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the beginning of the Alienated. And I remember thinking like I'm really excited about this story, but I also just finished A Sleeping While Standing, which is the autobiography comic that I did. And it took a very long time to do everything, like to write it, to draw it, to color it, and letter it myself. It was really, really fun to do. I learned a lot from it. And what I learned most was I'm really slow. I need help. And, as you know, I'm riddled with diseases, right? So I have very limited hours, that's productive hours,
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I can I can write very, very fast. I'm a really confident writer.
Okay.
So I have no problems, writing scripts, but when it comes to drawing, it's overwhelming. So eventually I got to a point where I'm like, well, I can't ask Mike to draw everything that I write. He's got his own comics to draw,
Yeah,
and
sure.
whatever. So we racked our brains, and we just kind of one day was like, well, what about John Broglia?
Yeah, he's an artist that we've known for a long time. He's a go-getter. He's somebody who works a job and makes comics and has a family. We've known each other for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when you're working with, or you want to work with somebody, like the talent is that's the first thing you think of, but the next thing has to be like, are these people you can count on, right? Like a Victor Santos or, somebody's going to meet the deadlines and do really great work.
Yeah. I wanted somebody who I knew, right? And that was important. And somebody who is professional enough that I know I can count on them to be meet their deadlines, because that.
Yeah, if you're not a professional, then there's no point. I don't care how
right.
good you are.
Yeah, I mean, there are many, many talented people, but yeah, it's a.
And he was perfect for this because a lot of this story is about family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason why she changed the title, found this new title, Alienated, because it's about these sort of familiar relationships. And one of the best things that John does that really blew me away was his ability to bring a family alive, like a family at a kitchen table. You know how many artists can draw a family having dynamics at a kitchen table? Not a lot. They can draw the establishing and you know exactly what's going on. You know who's mad and who's happy, but there's like that secondary level that certain artists can bring alive, and John does that.
Yeah.
So it was perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when I got his character designs in, and I was really vague with my descriptions, because I kind of wanted to know what he could bring to the table, right? Like I trusted him enough that I knew he was going to bring something to the table. It was more like it, right? So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna I'll give him like what age they are and stuff like that and whatever, but I'm just gonna leave the rest to up to him.
Okay.
And the character designs came back and it looked nothing like what I pictured whatsoever, and it was a delight. Like they immediately became real to me, so I loved it.
That's great. I have a couple panels here to show, and it's more random people at the senior citizen home.
Yes.
But I like John's indie style, and someone here in the chat put in there that they felt here 1,000 times no says that he thinks John's style matches your style, Taki.
Yeah, I would say so, definitely.
And there's something really special. Like if you've read Taki's other work or seen her other colors on my stuff or her own thing, John and her click in this sort of similar way. Like I remember looking at it going like, wow, this is crazy. Like I don't think that your work looks like John or John's looks like your work, but like I guess because you have such a strong coloring style, that the two of you together, like it does that magic thing where it creates a third,
third look.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, there's something like even Brian Bendis, he just automatically thought it was my art, and I was like, no, it's John Broglia, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I just assumed, and I'm like, but his style doesn't actually look like mine.
Yeah, and yours doesn't look like
mine. But because I colored it and there's some good meshing going on. I don't know. It worked out really well.
Yeah, I hear you. And I mean, I think of your art on when you and Brian did Taki, for example. Weren't you the artist as well as the co-plotter on that one?
Oh no, actually, she didn't. All she did for Takio was to be the inspiration.
Yeah,
it was her and Brian's daughter, but she actually
Okay.
didn't work on Takio.
Yeah.
Nick Velarde doing the color.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with Taki.
Oh, okay. Forgive me. There you go. All right, shame on me.
But she was on Murder Inc. So
yeah,
that's the association with her, Brian, and I. And then when she started coloring that, she had never colored before.
No, not at all.
Okay.
This language.
Yeah.
Kari has a couple nice comments. She says, "I like the dream inspiration in your description so far. Can't wait to read it." And also says, "If it takes time to make your best work, take your time. Never hurts to have a backlog ready to go ahead of time." Sure.
Definitely.
Why Comixology?
I think. Well, first of all, I'm actually working on one more title with them. They're willing to take 2 titles, and I was like, perfect.
Well, also, I remember when we were shopping around at the time, there was a couple of creators that we talked to who worked for them. And they're, when you're looking for a publisher and you talk to other creators who work for them, you get like the pros and the cons and stuff you didn't know, and sometimes that's bad and sometimes it's good. And with Comixology, there was like, it was a lot of, the conversation was a lot of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It kind of went like that, without giving away too much. So like, they are a good place to be for sure.
Yeah.
Who's the guy or woman over there that replaced, like, I know Chip Mosier was the Comixology guy before he went to Distillery. So who is the person you're dealing with at Comixology?
Oh my gosh. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I know it's Jeff something. It's very long, and I never asked him how to pronounce it, so I don't want to butcher it. So
well, I think I only spoke to him once.
Yeah.
So to be fair, so you go. Yeah. The rest is all typing.
Okay.
His name is Jeff at Comixology.
There you exactly. All right, that's more than enough. There you go.
What happened?
What happened to Taki 1-182? Is that like Perk 182? What is that?
Tagger who was Taki 183. It's a famous tagger back in the 80s.
Yeah, like that movie, right? With was it Timothy Hutton? I remember that movie. Turk
that was partially based on that. Yeah, the Turk 182, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So
hilarious.
this was his tag, which ironically turned out that it wasn't his real name. It was his nickname, even though Taki is actually a common like male Greek name as well. And
of course it is. Jesus.
Yeah,
of course I knew. I'm like, wait a minute. Yes, of course it is. I have relatives named Taki. Absolutely. Shame on me.
In Japanese, so there you go. So people just assumed that was his actual name, but it was not that. But that's what he chose, and he became famous for this Taki 183. And that's why I have this T-shirt, and it's not because I'm vain and I'm like, I'm gonna put my name on my T-shirt and I'm gonna wear it around.
She does write her name on everything around the house. She's just like, this is mine. This is mine.
Well, those Takis like snacks. It's mine. So stop eating it. I put my name on there so that nobody will eat it. It's mine.
Tak, seriously, how have I known you more than, not to age us, but 20 years, and I never put together your name and every Greek relative of mine that is named Taki? I have no idea. That's insane.
I can't answer that for you. I'm sorry.
I hear you. Speedy's joining us from, I believe, the Ozland. Good day, mates. Good to see you, man.
Hey,
thank you, Speedy. Speedsy. Or Spedsy. Yeah. No, okay, this is cool. How many issues for Alienated?
6 issues, which was supposed to be 5 issues. And the story is I just finished writing issue 5. And I'm like, man, I nailed that cliffhanger. I'm so happy. Oh my God. I got one more issue to go. I'm so happy. And I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I just looked at my contract for no reason other than I just decided to open it. and it was set to be 5 issues, and I'm like, I just wrote the 5th issue, and it ended on a cliffhanger. So, oh,
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
She was freaking out.
like,
She made sad, desperate sounds that I had never heard of before. I think maybe once watching some Russian movie where her children died in like a field or something like that. But Taki was making those sounds. It was the end of the world. I was like, holy.
Okay.
well,
I don't know if you guys are doing the thumbs up or
that's
because
not
I'm not
me.
touching a thing. I don't understand it.
Not me. I don't know what's going
All right,
on.
everyone, we're sorry. Exactly, Mike's got to move out of the way of the thumbs up that is
Maybe
like covering his
something's
face.
happening. I don't know.
Oh no, that's so weird. Because truly, I'm not touching any of the mice or anything.
It's a ghost.
1,000 times no wants to know: is it a digital only? I assume to start it is.
Yes, right now it is, and eventually there should be a print publisher, but we don't know exactly when or where yet.
Okay, that's cool. And no, you're right. I mean, I know a lot of creators that are still doing Comixology, and I get the updates when there's new product from them, as I always did. So yeah, it's interesting that
it's a good time too. I mean, we were not to get all doom and gloom already, but we're talking about the changes happening right now in society and the cost of things going up, and the digital comic's going to be the cost of what it is, which is what, like $3?
Yeah, it's $2.99, I believe.
Yeah, and
okay,
I don't have to worry about the tariffs or cost of paper going up and all this kind of crazy.
Or shipping from, or for trade shipping from China. I mean, I know a good deal of not only comics, graphic novels, but regular novels and everything else comes from China.
Well,
so I didn't even occur to me on Doomsday, the other Doomsday, not the movie that we're expecting. But it is. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. I wonder how. I got to talk to Ed because I know
done in China or in Canada
or well, good things. Everything's good with Canada right now. Right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
When I did my graphic novel last year, The After Realm, which is a 300-page book, I looked into getting it printed locally first because I wanted. I didn't want to deal with that kind of shipping overseas and how long that could be held up and all the stuff that can go into that.
Yeah.
But the cost difference then was already like $5,000 to $8,000 of difference of printing overseas versus here. But
cheaper overseas, or cheaper domestically, or cheaper overseas?
Cheaper overseas, including the shipping.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you why that is because they have paper here, and they have machines here. But regardless,
labor.
I don't know that. I don't know that I could do it now.
I hear you, man. I know. Well, I do know there are boutique printers across the country, and because like for instance, my good friend Art Baltazar, when he makes his comics and stuff, he deals with domestic printers.
Yeah,
but small batches and stuff,
Yeah, and it might work easier on like a kind of a single issue or a 48-page thing, but for a graphic novel, it was just price prohibitive,
Sure.
So yeah, I don't that'll be all the conversation. I don't know how that'll go, but luckily right now it's great timing because we won't have to worry about any of that stuff.
And I'm grateful that the price seems fair.
Good.
For digital comic for $2.99, I think it's pretty fair in comparison to others I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know if I should speak on this or not, but it always bugged me that a digital comic was being charged the same as the floppy. That didn't seem right. So yeah, I love this price point is a good thing. Yeah, and it's not underselling it either. Because sometimes you see something too cheap, and I don't know. There's some sort of weird psychological thing that works backwards there, where it's kind of like it's not worth it or something. So it's a really good price point. I can attest all those how far ahead they are. So these won't be late or anything like that. And
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. There just seems to be like pretty good lineup of creators who are going through Comixology originals now. So I feel pretty good in their company. So
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons we went there was we talked to Neil Clyde and Greg Lockhart, both who we know and trust, and we've worked with on several levels and stuff. So like, you want to be in good company, you know. There's there's lots of good stuff there. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Aw, adorable. What's the cat's name?
We have cat named Roman and cat named Achilles. Oh my goodness, he's happy.
Achilles. Man, you are all
This is Achilles.
about the Greek stuff, aren't you, Tak? That's
Oh
great.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Fantastic. That's great.
He even has a sword on his back.
He does. There's a sword pattern on his back. It's really hard to see, but I'll take a picture of it and send it to you.
Yeah, please do. Is that natural?
This is Achilles.
The cat has that sword pattern?
Yeah. So yeah,
Crazy.
He's a good boy.
That's hilarious.
He's a good boy, and you know, just a little too like
Too
cuddly.
loving. Yeah.
I don't know if you have cats at all, or if you have, you know,
I've had girlfriends that have had cats. Oh yeah, sure. I mean, you know, I've never had I've always been a dog person myself, but you know.
All right. Well, this one drools. Like dribbles.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, I have to, like, if I'm laying at bed at night, I have like a scarf that just goes around my face that he'll lay here, and then it just all soaks up wet.
Yeah.
Do you do that to prevent drooling on you, basically?
Yeah.
That's hilarious, man.
And
so you
then
sleep like the shadow, basically.
Yeah, then I'll go to bed with like eye mask on, so I just look like, I don't know, like some sort of really cheap vigilante.
Exactly. Yeah, Greg Saunders, exactly, original vigilante.
Drool on him. It's cute until it's not.
Until it hits you in the face or in the mouth. Yeah. God,
it's disgusting love.
My one girlfriend, she only she declawed the front paws but kept the back ones, and the cat would love to jump on you early in the morning. And it's like, God. You know, it's like, okay, I know the cat's being. It's like, but that's because he likes you. I'm like, yeah. I know, but I just don't need the puncture wounds. Thank you.
Right.
You know.
And then our other cat
Roman.
was Roman took part in Taki's Sleep While Standing book, and the story that gets some of the most reactions from it, because Taki did this. Well, you tell the story as much as you want, because
the story is like, you know, the day we brought him home, we put him in our little like half bath, because they were like, well, you know, until he uses his litter, you should just lock him up and just let him know that that's where he's supposed to go.
And this is a story in Sleeping While Standing.
Yeah. So we left him in the bathroom, closed the door with the litter and some food and water and whatever, and we went to go eat out, and we came back home an hour later, and he was gone
from a small locked room, like telephone booth size.
And we couldn't find him. We looked everywhere. We looked between books. We looked behind the toilet.
Yeah.
We looked
in the toilet. I was like, did he crawl in?
Yeah, we looked in the toilet. We looked in the we looked everywhere. Couldn't find him. He was gone. And I just kind of left the story and just said, there's a
explanation.
Yeah, well, there's
portal.
We found him. He's fine, and you know, but I never actually told anyone where he was. And
so you kind of figure it out.
So yeah,
on your own.
Yeah, you have to figure it out on your own, and
But I was losing my mind, and she wrote this part in the story. Like, it was so perplexing. I literally leapt to, it has to be supernatural. Like, there's no other explanation. It's 3 foot by 4 foot room. Where could he be? You know.
Wow, maybe your cat is.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, that's so funny. I was going to say, Mike Plavin said that Oeming needs more glasses on his head. Why do you have 2 pairs of glasses on, Mike?
Well, because when I'm working on the iPad, then I have to switch from this. Otherwise, my eyeballs will look like Mr. Magoo.
There you go. Man, you look like Harry Carey. That's good, man. Boy, oh boy.
I get the reference.
And don't you have like glasses just for driving?
Oh yeah, I've got computer glasses, drawing glasses, seeing glasses, driving glasses.
Yeah.
I
He's
understand.
so fancy.
Well, I the last time I saw the eye doctor, he's like, "Hey, do you want bifocals?" And I'm like, "Do I need them?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "All right, well, that's what happens with middle age, you know."
But I need those kind of like
Well,
steampunk ones with like 6 or 7 different lights.
These are bifocals too.
Spider Jerusalem, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you're drawing for 30-something years. It's just gonna take a toll.
Yeah.
No, I understand, Mike. Yeah, absolutely, man. God, we don't want you to get, to the point where you need the jeweler's eyepiece to draw and everything,
Yeah.
That'll happen.
But
God forbid.
1,000 Times No is asking like I could never find the clue in that story. And
Right, about the cat.
the clue is actually in the last panel. It's right there. There's only one thing there. That's your clue.
Okay.
That's all I can give you. And
where is he?
yeah, and like and everybody's asked like, where is the cat? And
some people have figured it out.
Some people have
it's
figured
not
it
impossible.
out. Right. But I just have to say, if I tell you, then the magic of the story is gone. So I can't tell you.
Yeah. Now, if you do pick up the book, just a warning: it is not about cute kitten stories.
No.
There's only one cute kitten story, and the rest is like death and drugs and.
It's definitely not kid friendly. No.
Yeah.
Say that.
And who published that story?
Avery Hill. It's a British publisher.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm
They all
sorry,
ride
this
around
is,
on mountain bikes.
and
What's
this is
that?
different. This is different from your autobiography, right, Tak?
Oh no, that is the biography.
Oh, that is the autobiography. Excuse me. So
Yeah.
Avery Hill, everybody, because I was going to ask. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and but going back to everything else, like I just it was such a great experience to work on that book, but I learned that like I'm done. I think I'm done as an artist, like a visual artist.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it's just it's too much on my body. I can still color, but that's and
yeah.
But drawing is just, it takes so long, and my body's just like, dude, no.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm just again, I mean, all of us from the Bennett sport, we knew you first from your art.
Yeah.
So,
But
I'm
a friend of
sorry.
mine said something really beautiful. 'Cause I was telling her, I'm like, it's sometimes I'm a little bit sad that I'm not really drawing that much at all anymore. Because I've always thought of myself as a visual artist, and she's like, well, isn't writing like
Of course
an
it
art,
is.
art
Yeah.
of your brain?
Yeah,
artist
of course
your
it
brain?
is.
And I'm like, oh, I love that. Yes, that is exactly it.
Yeah, you're just a different kind of storyteller. I understand that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And both Taki and I, like, we're not like a Terry Dodson, Adam Hughes illustrator artist, right?
No,
Like,
not at
were,
all. Well, I'm not.
well, neither me. Like we're both like hammer and nail
Yeah,
storytellers,
yeah.
visual storytellers. So like her just leaning more on the storytelling aspect of it, just an extension of what she's doing already, And like all of these things, like whether it's Sleeping While Standing, which started with one story, which wasn't a story at the time, it was just a dream.
Mhm.
Dead Aliens, like a couple of our other books that have in work, they all stem out from like conversations that we have. We talk about story ideas all the time. She tends to have dreams that have like full act structures. Right, so there's been a couple where like the whole story is just given to her in her dream.
Yeah.
And then we'll start talking about it, and at a certain point, we'll decide whether it's going to be a story or not, or it goes from like the literal idea of this thing, and it kind of spins itself out. Like having this, I don't remember if it was a dream or just a thought about dead aliens being everywhere, but we started talking about it. At first, it was very serious about like, well, how would the world react? How would people react? And we were thinking of scale and stuff, and then eventually that spins out into other conversations of why would this be happening, why would they have gotten here, what would have caused that, then that spins out into other stuff, and eventually it ends up where you're talking about like sacrifice and all these other weird things. And every morning we have these conversations, sometimes 2-3 hours, because we have the luxury of like, if we need that long of a breakfast to talk out ideas, we will. So like, ideas don't come from purposely making them up. I think they come from listening. Listening to others, listening to yourself,
asking questions.
Yeah, and then those stories will reveal themselves to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of it is absolutely true. Like, we talk about story to nauseum. Like, I think if anybody was listening in, they would be so bored. Like, my God, these people are just talking about this one thing, and what would work, why wouldn't it work? What about this? What about that?
And it's not all beautiful. Like, we're talking about like something that leads to a story, right? Like a good dumb example, those Geico commercials with Limu Emu, and I'm like, so think about it. This starts out with like a parody of 70s cop references, 70s cop television shows.
Right.
So it's obviously speaking to an older audience, right? Because it's insurance, and it's insurance that is presenting itself to a 70s television show. So all the references are for older people.
Sure.
But then they're doing this randomness of like 20-year-olds, right? And then after a while, they're not even really cop teams anymore. And the emu is like living on a farm and saying goodbye to his family. And like, I get the randomness is supposed to be funny or whatever, but like, we're just talking about the messaging of it. Like,
what the narrative,
what the narrative is.
Well,
like,
it's interesting. You characterize it as Geico, and actually, sadly, because I used to be in the commercial business, it's Liberty Mutual. It's a different insurance, so their message isn't getting through. You got the packaging, but you don't know what they're selling. You don't know which company they're selling.
Though, and I wouldn't screw up, is Geico Gecko.
Of course,
right? So that's already, there's association there, and it's so strong. It pulls you in and stuff. And then there's these other random things with the cavemen and all that stuff. Like, you need to have a story. You need to tell a story. And when there's a good commercial, like, we'll actually get kind of like, oh my God, I know what they were selling. I know what the narrative was. Like, and all that stuff drives us nuts. We either celebrate it or we're angry.
Do you?
I'm a little bit quiet over here because I get really uncomfortable criticizing.
We just lost our Geico job opportunities.
No, Liberty Mutual, Michael.
Liberty Mutual.
Well, no, it's not about like employment opportunities or anything, but as being creative, it's really hard to like openly criticize. Like, we criticize amongst ourselves, of course, because that's what we're supposed to do to grow as artists, right? To really critically look at things. I'm like
we never talk about what we don't like. We never
not publicly. We don't. We try not to, at least, right?
Also because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
Like what those commercials might be being put together like that for a reason that will be lost on us.
Yeah,
but
that is beyond the creative art director's control or whatever. Yeah. So, to criticize something like that is just,
Oh, sure, yeah.
No, I get it, but also, I both as a consumer and as storytellers yourselves, again, I don't blame you for kind of breaking it down. I mean, I was in, like I said, I was in the commercial production business and would try to be creative. And so, no, I believe me. And in fact, when I see the current one with the emu leaving home, I'm like, I can't see that enough. Time for new creative, and also
I got the cop.
Well, it's just about the emu. Again, it's all about
anyway.
Let's have more of the emu.
This is the small taste of what we go through every morning. Whether we're talking about Severance and how much we love it, and the levels of character and story reveal, or
but what we love to do is break down the story. Like, we love to break it down to like what it was about, why did it work, how did it work, what do you think that like the writers were thinking, and at what point do they make this decision, and stuff like that. And like, we just kind of puzzle it together just to kind of figure out And then like, of course, we'll have fun and be like, well, wouldn't it be fun if they actually did this instead? Whatever.
Yeah.
Not to say that like this
Not
is
to say it's
better,
it's just different
but
choices.
it's just a different
Yeah.
choice, and like what would have stemmed out of that, and then that'll spin into like another
Yeah.
hour of like conversation, and
then it
it's
helps
great.
us figure out our own stories when we're
course.
talking to
100%.
each other.
Yeah, sure. Is oh, Mike Plavin saying no Severance spoilers, please. Don't worry, man.
Not at all. Not at all.
Never.
I was going to ask, have you guys been watching on Apple? If you have Severance, you might, or yeah, so
I
you
hear
have
you
Apple, the studio. Yeah, are you
Hell
watching
yeah.
the studio?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
And that's
I watched the
another-
first two. I haven't watched the third one yet. Did you
yeah.
watch the third one
We
already?
watched the third one. Did you ever watch
Uncut Diamonds.
Yes.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems?
Oh, the Sandler movie.
Yes.
What about it?
Did you
Okay.
watch it?
No, I didn't. Tell me.
Oh, okay.
No, tell me. Yeah.
It's anxiety inducing.
Yeah, it's it was funny, but not funny, and it was all about anxiety. Like you were just like, what's gonna happen? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Oh my god!
Yeah, all the criminal
And-
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt the same way with the studio.
Yeah.
No, I felt
And
the same way.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's true, but I'd like to think of my own headcanon when they're scoring the music for that. There's a jazz drummer just watching it happen on, like, it feels like
Yes.
he's live reacting to the panic
Yeah.
of the
Tension.
guys, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
hilarious.
so good. But we were talking
Well-
about the story of that, and this won't be any sort of spoiler thing, but like, I'm watching it and I go, oh, I think that this is being written from the point of view of his neurosis.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Because
Oh, absolutely. I
it's
agree.
a situation where what's the worst thing that can happen to your character? You put him in that position, right? But you look around him, like how people react to him. Nobody treats him like a boss. His subordinates don't treat him like a boss.
True.
Well, there's the
Yeah, I know.
his subordinates don't treat him like a boss. He runs into people in the hallway and he's the one who apologizes, right? So it's like, oh, I realize like he it's being written from the point of view of his neurosis, because he's not, he doesn't get any of the sort of respect that a real boss does or anything, and then he screws everything up, and it's just so good. It's great. It's great.
I liked the first episode a lot, but I agree with you guys in terms of that discomfort of watching him ingratiate himself on the female, on the woman director in the second episode, and it's like, leave, and I'm sure all of us watching are going, leave.
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's fun.
Yeah.
I like Ike Barinholtz. I never really paid attention to him, and actually, a radio friend of mine had a development deal with a producer, and they were talking about Barinholtz playing my friend in a biopic of his radio career. He's kind of an outspoken sports talk host and stuff. And I grew up here in Chicago, and really kind of cut his teeth improv wise here, and then Amsterdam,
wow.
and then Mad TV and everything else that he's done. So I was, so beyond, and I love Seth. I'm a big Seth fan. But right now, I got to admit, the second episode made me so uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. I got to be, I mean, I'll stick with it and everything, because again, I pretty much like everything Seth does.
Yes, at least it's not a show where something really bad is going to happen.
Oh,
He's
no,
not going to
not
get
at
shot
all.
or something.
Oh yeah.
I was telling him, I'm like, I really like this, but boy, I don't think I can rewatch this. It's so stressful.
There was two really interesting things happening too when we were watching it. Years ago, I was on Celebrity Apprentice.
I remember. Yeah,
Great.
man. That's right.
And,
you were, Mike, and you were excellent, and people loved it. Yes.
And it was quite the experience. And Taki came with, and she had a different experience. She was behind the scenes, so she's watching the hustle and bustle. And like one of the things was this whole water thing that happened.
Yeah. So I was just, I think I was just like back in the back, backstage area, and like I was just drawing or whatever, and I just hear this commotion and a bunch of people just yelling at each other. They're like, the water is not cold enough. Why is this not cold enough? Look at this is sweating. Who is doing this? You go get more water. And I'm like sitting here like, no one's asking for cold water. Why are you freaking out on this other person?
Yeah.
It was insanity.
Like the stakes were so high on the water. So then when we're watching, I think it's like in that second or third episode of the studio, and like he needs a shirt, or he's changing out his shirt because he realizes he's too stuffy or whatever. And like the commotion that goes into getting him a new shirt, and like, oh my God, like, yeah, this is so true. And then when we were filming Powers, there were times we'd go to watch the television show, and I'm an executive producer on it. And you know, I got that experience. I didn't realize I'm watching this show. Like, oh, to keep me out of the way, they put us over in the video village.
That happened to us. There was once when they were like in the middle of filming.
Oh, sure.
Filming, and like this one lady was like, her entire job was to keep everybody in line while filming was going on, and she was scary. She did a really good job. And she's just like, everybody quiet. This is the third take. Quiet. Everybody quiet. And then I'm sitting here I'm like, oh, I'm scared of her. I'm not even working and I'm scared of her. I'm like, hey, I'm going to stay quiet. My phone alarm went off in the middle of film, and she just looked at me with daggers, but then she realized I'm the wife of one of the producers, so she was just like, and I'm like,
wow.
And that's how Taki got MS.
Wow. Well, that took a turn.
So it's funny watching the show, and like some of the stuff you know
that's what you remember.
Yeah, when you can see some of it behind the scenes. So I don't know. The whole thing is great. Like, we just love the movie. The show has been great.
Yeah, as absurd as some of the stuff that's in the studio, I believe most of it to be like pretty close to the truth.
And we've heard stories like behind the scenes stories. You talked to Brian. Brian's told some of them, and some of them are in his book. I was just reading the Fortune and Glory. What is it? Yeah, Hollywood Fortune and Glory, and and then when you see, here he is.
Speak of the devil.
I evoked his name.
Like Beetlejuice, you said my name 3 times, and I do.
We were just
your
talking
thought,
about
Mike.
The studio television show, and like,
we'll get your thoughts on the Seth Rogen show in a second, Brian. But no, finish your thought about the Fortune and Glory Volume 2 there.
Just how we've seen the behind the scenes stuff on the show, the little bit that we've experienced in ourselves, and that the stories you've told us, like, so when you're watching the show and you think how ridiculous some of the decisions and stuff are. It's like, no, this is pretty spot on. Yeah. This is how decisions are made, and how things get killed, and how things survive, and why choices are made. And it's great.
Brian, what do you think of the studio so far?
Oh, I genuinely, and I have watched the pilot 3 times, think it might be a perfect piece of filmmaking.
I love the first
thing. We don't stop enough and really celebrate when something is just perfect, and it is. I literally have studied it. It's incredible. It's extremely well made. It is swinging hard, both technically and thematically, and it's landing. It's quite wonderful. It's beautiful satire, and at the same time, incredibly autobiographical. I mean, it is. We know some of these people. He has said who this guy is based on, and we know him. We have dealt with him. So he really
his character, not the Bryan Cranston character. His character.
No, the Bryan Cranston character is based on Griffin Mill from The Player. Robert Altman's The Player. That is the name of Tim Robbins' character in The Player. So they are saying. That. Oh, you didn't even catch that this is a fucking sequel to The Player?
That's hilarious.
The Player opens and closes with some of the cinema's greatest one-off, non-edited shots. Like the opening shot of The Player goes on, I think, for like 12 minutes, unedited, as like 50, 60 movie stars move in and out of this scene. And by the end of the oneer, you know everything about this universe. It's an incredible bit of business, right? So to open this saying that Bryan Cranston's character is Griffin Mill, that Griffin Mill has gone from executive to owner of the studio, yet not played by Tim Robbins, who is
alive
and working on an Apple Plus TV show. He's like third lead on Silo. So like he's working there. Yeah. Maybe he just wouldn't touch it. Maybe him and Rogan don't like each other, but it's an incredible thing that they've named a character after the guy, and the guy is actively still alive and an Academy Award winning actor now. So anyway,
I was
we
gonna
have.
say,
Go ahead.
oh, go ahead. You got an announcement or something? What do you got?
No,
Start
just
it
saying
anyway.
I think it's perfect and well worth people's time and wonder.
Sure.
It's a
Oh,
beautiful
100%. It's so fun. I was just saying
Uh-oh.
allergies. Goodness.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Uh,
I thought you were gonna put something on.
camera.
I
So-
won't zoom in on Taki blowing her nose. That's all right.
Most people would move off camera. You went off camera to grab the tissue and pulled it back into camera.
She's confident.
Well, I did not actually come here to speak of the studio, even though I'm thrilled to nerd out.
No,
on
I
you.
demand it actually, but go.
I came here to plug my appearance on Comedy Bang Bang on Friday, where we talk about. No, I'm here to celebrate Taki's new book, Alienated, which I have read the first 3 chapters of, I believe. I've read a lot of it, and it is really wonderful. And I know we have a lot of fans at from Powers who moved over to United States of Murder Inc., which Taki was a co-creator of, and her colors on that book are why the book is so stunning to look at. No offense, Mike. And if you like any of that energy or any of the energy from Takio, the book that we did as a family together, I just wanted to let people know that Alienated will not disappoint. You will. It's very different. It's very much its own thing. But if you just like that vibe of world building and cartooning and color theory and all the other stuff, here's Taki just bringing everything. And I just wanted to tell people that if they had their finger like hovering over the buy button, hit. It's good. It's worth it. It's a damn good read. So that's my endorsement. But anyway, I will be on Comedy Bang Bang this Friday talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Scott hasn't seen. It is a 3-hour conversation that I'm so very proud of. Anyway,
almost as long as
who else is with you?
No, it's me. It's Scott Ackerman's show, so it's me, Scott Ackerman, and Sean Diston, and it's a weekly movie podcast. And I just know you nerds, but I'm just joking. That's not really what I came here to tell you. I came here to tell you that we showed London Star Trek First Contact, and it played gangbusters. It played huge. It's a good movie.
Yay!
And only because
Which one is First
John and I
know
have very little Star Trek connective tissue. Like I see his commentary on things, and I'm like, I can't join him on his hate watchings that he does on some of these podcasts. So I just wanted to come in knowing that we shared this lovely spot where Star Trek is at a perfect space, and we showed
so
it
which
to.
One was the First Contact again?
When the
that is the first like real Next Generation movie. There's one before it where it's called
Generations. Yeah, that was the one with Generations is with the death of Kirk, and then First Contact is the one where they stand on their own, and and it's good. Yeah, Alfre Woodard. They go back to like when the guy created Warp Drive.
Engine was created. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. I have seen it. It's been
great movie.
Years
for sure.
I was
just say it's extremely well made. It's a big surprise. It's Picard in action hero mode. Like he's all jacked up. And it's directed by Jonathan Frakes, who would later go on to direct the best episode of Powers. So, but unrelated to that,
I didn't know I didn't know he directed an episode of Powers. My God, I wish I had known that when I interviewed him.
I'm moving.
That's fantastic.
Hold on.
All right, he'll fix himself. But I didn't know that he directed an episode of Powers. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was super cool. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. It was a big. I mean, most of us were. We were a big fan of Next Gen, like, and when that show came around or came back, it was just mind blowing in a lot of different levels, which is weird because if you go watch it now, especially like the first season, you kind of go like, why was this a big thing other than it was Star Trek and stuff? But like, sci-fi was dead on television at that point. Like there was nothing, let alone as ambitious as the show was and stuff. And obviously, he was such a big part of it. Great character, and to find out that he went on to just become a great director was amazing. So we had him, and we had I'm forgetting the actor's name who played Wesley.
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton was also on there. So we had a little mini reunion on the show.
That's
and then
cool.
You guys like force him to like reenact some of the scenes?
Brian did, yeah.
Yeah.
I had
No. The bummer is honestly, I never even met the guy. He
Frakes?
didn't. Yeah, I was producing my episodes and coming in for when things weren't coming together. And on Frakes, the episode Frank's directed was written by Ben Edlund, the creator of The Tick. And so he produced it, and he'd already produced like 10 seasons of Angel. Like he knew how to make a TV show. It's the
And
reason why it's one of our best episodes. And it was all like Trisha Helfer and Sharlto Copley having a dirty power sex fight for most of the episode. So they had it under control. So I could go home and raise my kids that week. So I literally never saw him. And then I came back the week later. And I remember our cast, I don't remember you were there, Mike, but our cast had fallen under the spell of Jonathan Frakes. They're like, oh, he was the best. That was the best guy. Because he really is an actor's director.
Talking about
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
Yeah, but like he knew how to talk to everybody, and they really loved him. So
yeah, and she was like thrilled to act like a cat, and like she was so excited. She talked about it at length. I remember that.
Yeah,
they had a great cast. They were all great people. Trish in particular, like one time, like we'd come back to the studio for filming, and it had been a long time. Maybe this was second season even. I don't remember. It was a huge gap of time.
She's only on second season.
Yeah, I was going to say, Trish is the big bad in second season.
So
yeah.
The first time we saw her to the last time we saw her, and like she came across the lobby to say hello to us. Like she went out of her way to talk to us, both Taki and I. And it, like she was just like that. And like I didn't think she would remember me because I shook her hands with her once and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And she like just sat down and just started talking to us and stuff.
She was very lovely.
So if you're a fan of hers, she's also just a great person. Yeah.
She deserves all the love.
Yeah,
she's legit.
That's cool.
She reminds me of is another person in my life who has done almost everyone I know huge kindnesses, and that's Taki Soma, who literally spends like all day long treating everyone we know and giving them time. My kids, this is the Aunt Taki. They know they can come to her for like not having to listen to us. Good advice. It's a real joy of our life. Like they all know, we all have like this. She's part of our support system. It's an incredible thing. And I'm not saying that as a reason to buy her book, but it is a reason to buy her book.
I think that's definitely a
respect
reason.
That.
No, there's a lot of garbage people who make content and then you don't know because you don't know. But I'm just like, if you knew that the person was a good person, you'd be like, I would like to support their book. And Taki is one of these people.
That's
thank
cool.
you so much.
What I'm going to say, having read and actually, Comixology was great. Taki sent me a few pages. They sent me the whole first issue. Does it come out? When does it drop, Tak? When does the book come out? On the 8th. Okay, so Tuesday. It'll be out on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. It's
cool.
It's happening soon.
Just in time to celebrate the end of civilization. So that is.
Yeah. Well, Brian, we were talking about that, and I wanted.
Well, it's a good thing that it's digital and it's $3 instead of like somebody having to like spell out like $5-6.
Yeah.
And then like who knows what the pricing will be with all the tariff stuff going on in it anymore. So like, well, I guess in a way, I'm glad that like it's priced fairly.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I also like the fact too that it's a multi-generational story and that seniors, and you'll forgive me, but as I creep into senior citizen territory, it's nice to see, how important the grandfather is in the story. And I don't know how much you want to give away, Tak, but
it is absolutely a it's a story about family.
Yeah. First
and foremost, it's about family, and it just happens that like aliens come and visit Earth and they just die on us, and the grandfather is I imagine he's like in his 70s, maybe 80s, and he's a huge part of the story. He is basically the protagonist, and it's a story about him and his grandkids, and they're not that close except when aliens come and like things happen, and like that's what brings them together. But before aliens, they were alienated,
Yeah, if you will.
estranged, just like most families. So yeah, so it's absolutely about a senior citizen and and teenagers.
She worked really hard to not make it either E.T. or Cocoon, and she succeeded.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
When we're plotting stuff out, it was kind of like, oh no, like, because even if it's not E.T., there's so many movies that E.T. There's like a genre, a trope, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but a storytelling trope about aliens and getting home and stuff like that, right? And like, oh, how do we avoid all of this? So like a lot of her choices were based on that. Like, how do you get around this obvious, almost necessary thing? And she just kept focused on characters as a way to do it.
But I mean, E.T. was definitely an inspiration, though.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Just stay away from Mac and Me. Remember
you guys know what Mac and Me is?
Yeah, that's incredible, that movie.
Do you know the Conan O'Brien, Paul Rudd, Mac and Me situation?
I don't know if I saw that part.
All right, later after we hang up, you'll just Google. If you put Paul Rudd into YouTube, Conan O'Brien, Mac and Me comes right up. For 30 years, Paul Rudd has been coming on Conan O'Brien's various late night talk shows, and no matter what he's promoting, from the most hardcore indie to Ant-Man to Avengers, when they roll the clip, it's a clip from Mac and Me. And every time he says to Conan, hey, listen, Judd Apatow told me I can't do that bullshit this time, so we're really going to run the clip. I have to show. Like Kevin Feige said, no Mac and Me clips for Avengers Endgame, and then they roll it, and it's fucking Mac and Me. It's funny every time.
Oh my god!
It's funny as a supercut, and then brilliantly last year, Paul Rudd came on his podcast. And they ran the clip, and Conan didn't see it coming because he goes, well, he's not going to do it to me on a podcast because it's a podcast. And it was even funnier. So
even the specific scene that they show, I won't spoil it, but yeah, it's amazing. Okay. It's an excellent choice.
It's got to be that scene, but yeah, I guess you shouldn't.
When the little kid in the wheelchair. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, Snow agrees with you. So yes,
it is one of the greatest comedy bits in the history of the world because it's going on for decades and nothing will stop him. Yeah, there's just something brilliant about it. No, anyway, the other thing about the studio I wanted to say, pivoting back, is that there's a great clip of Seth Rogen talking about how some of this came about from he was offered to adapt Where's Waldo into a story, and they worked on it with a big writers' room full of comedy writers, and they were like trying to like find out like what the movie of Where's Waldo, but Where's Waldo's story is where is he? And they were in this writers' room trying to like they were like, no, it's not Where's Waldo, it was who is Waldo? What does he want? What is the motivation? And then they realized there's nothing there. There's like it's the opposite of a story.
Well, what scared
Brian,
me?
Look out! There's a dog behind you.
Aw,
come here, Stella Bella.
Hi, Stella.
Come Stella.
Good girl. Oh. Man, the pets are coming out tonight. I love it. Animal Kingdom on the word balloon.
Did we have a?
Yeah, the cats were visiting earlier.
We had an Achilles sighting. Yes.
What's really scary though is to watch an episode about Kool-Aid, and then to have Minecraft be a giant hit. It feels like no matter how positive that is, in any way you want to look at it, and you can, it's going to set everything else back.
Yes.
There's a great another great podcast this week, Blank Check, which I was lucky enough to be on. This week they're doing Hook with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, wow.
And what's great about it is that two of the people on the podcast grew up with Hook and think it's perfect.
Sure.
And people who watch it now see it's fitful at best, right? It's not a big mess, but it's not the home run that you want it to be, right? But when you grow up with something, you just I get it. I still think it's perfect. I love
Flash Gordon.
Right.
Well,
so Flash
you're
Gordon.
right, Mike. Yeah.
So Flash Gordon's a perfect one. And even, believe it or not, for a great many young people, they think the original Star Wars is that to us because it's so slow and so British. We talked about this, that they can't relate to it as cinema language, right?
Yeah.
I know this is terrible, but watching some of the TikTok footage from inside the theaters at Minecraft and watching the audiences lose their shit like it's Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
On honestly jokes I don't get to reference to. I've never played Minecraft, and even like my kids that do were like yeah, let some inside baseball shit, but they're going nuts. They're going crazy for it, right? So it's funny to watch people like middle-aged people talk about Hook and argue for it, knowing that in 20 years there's going to be like the commentary about Minecraft where there's no critique of it because it's just a perfect movie for when you're 11 years old.
Well, I've noticed watching,
and that's fine. That's great.
Right.
There should be movies like that.
I'll say my thought after acknowledging the comment on screen. Took my kids to Minecraft today.
Yep.
I kid you not, the children exploded into spontaneous applause at the end. I find watching the current SNL the last couple seasons that a lot of jokes, I absolutely get the reference, and the crowd is going apeshit. And like even last year, I think it was last year when Sydney Sweeney was on, and she was the cheerleader, and she's the popular cheerleader. Who's this new guy on the team? And it's Air Bud. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but really? Like that?
Yeah,
that is like hilarious to the children. And I get it. That's their age group. I get it.
Well, even when I was said like that this movie will set us back, I don't mean that the movie itself is a problem. The problem is the wrong lessons will be learned from it.
The concept, yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
And that's what they talked about in
studio.
The studio too, about the Barbie film.
Yeah.
There was a creator, a mind behind it. There was a vision. Even the product had something you could relate to because people grew up with this thing in their hands and it aged with them. So there's something there that you can build out of,
Right.
Well even let's take it back to a more simpler thing that people our age can reference, right? And I've talked about this on this podcast. When they finally got a decent Batman movie made, right? When Michael Keaton's Tim Burton Batman hit and they finally got it done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hollywood didn't go, oh shit, they love superheroes and that mythology and the hero's journey. They went, oh, you guys like 1930s vigilante pulp heroes. They didn't make Spider-Man and the X-Men. They made the Phantom, the Shadow, the Dick Tracy. It was literally a list of things you think. Like, it's always just a little off from the thing they want is like so clearly.
An
so
authentic
much
vision.
like they were trying to describe the lesson of Barbie being, it's more than just this. But I must say, as far as Minecraft goes, and I had a weird experience where just this week we showed London of School of Rock for the first time, even though he's been going. He's been in a band, like he's been going to a School of Rock, right? But he's at an age now where the movie just plays. It's just a perfect movie for 12-year-olds. So we rewatched it. I've not seen it in years. It's a magnificent movie.
It's a great movie.
Talk about things that might be perfect. It might be perfect. Like
for that
there's
subject,
not an off note. There's not a joke that doesn't land. It's aging incredibly well. Like if the jokes are like, it's 20 years old already. But now you have Jack Black has been in movies like this successfully. He joked a little bit about it last night on the air, but he literally Jumanji, Kung Fu Panda, School of Rock, Minecraft, Super Mario Brothers. He might be the most successful comedy movie star of the 30-year period.
Of this era. Yeah.
Jim Carrey's in movie jail. Like he is consistent and big, and
he was in movie jail for a minute after Gulliver's Travels.
Oh, that's true.
A minute.
Oh, I forgot.
That's
about
true.
Yeah.
So he got out. That's even a
Kung Fu
bigger
Panda was always there to bail him out, right?
That's true too. Yep.
But Jim Carrey went to movie jail for bad mouthing Kick-Ass 2, making himself basically unhireable. You can't take $20 million and then shit on the product. Like that's what happened. There.
Well, guys, and I mean, if you don't want to get into it, it's fine. But I've been talking about Rachel Zegler and Snow White because again, when you're fronting a multi-million-dollar movie, no one's telling you don't express yourself, but kind of be aware that you are fronting a big corporate movie, and it doesn't help when you've taken an opinion that is diametrically opposed to your co-star's real life experience.
Well, it's more complicated than that. So this is more.
All right, you'll have to tell me off the air. But
it's just far more complicated.
But that whole film had so many problems before that stuff even was going on.
Yeah.
It was almost kind of like, could you not see the pitfalls in here? You sure you want to make this movie? You know.
Yeah, no, so yes, I'm sorry. My youngest is named London, and he's at an age now where we get to show him a lot of cool stuff.
He's my buddy.
He is Takio's buddy.
Matching jackets.
Yes.
Yeah,
and so
that's awesome. That's fantastic.
We just had spring break where we every spring break we really try to land some content on the kids that they haven't seen before, like some movie screenings and stuff. So this time and stuff that this is going to hurt you, but a lot of stuff in the 90s that's great stuff that they just never saw. It's not in their world, but stuff that they would love. Like my daughter Tabitha, we've talked about, loves Gilmore Girls. She loves it so much. That's a space, right?
Oh, that's great.
So for London, just knowing what he likes and what kind of comedy he likes. Like he's never seen Men in Black, so we showed him Men in Black. Fucking loved it. Loved it. Right. So School of Rock.
Does he like any TV, or is he only?
He loves. Well, that's where a lot of this is coming from. He probably told you he's deeply obsessed with Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Andy Samberg.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is it's like a feast of pop culture references. London came to me and goes, "Hey, can we see Die Hard?" Because they reference Die Hard every fucking episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So he literally felt he needed to see it.
Yeah.
To get the context of it.
Have you shown him Hot Rod, the Samberg movie?
Oh no, we're all in on Andy Samberg.
I figured.
This has become a huge Andy Samberg house.
Even that creepy Sandler movie they made.
Oh no.
Okay, yeah, maybe a little too.
The one they regretted 5 minutes after they made it. Yeah, that's
well. Not only that, but little adult for even London, I would say.
They made a movie, Andy Samberg and Adam Sandler, and it's a very infrequent full misfire. He's got a couple of them, but this is a big one called "That's My Boy," where I think it's Adam Sandler is one of those kids in the 80s that knocked up his
adult teacher,
played by Susan Sarandon. Remember all those stories?
Yeah.
Okay,
come on, they're still happening, sadly. Yeah.
No, Mike grew up in Jersey. He went to school with half these things. Where all the stories came from. But
I kind of sort of lived it.
They made a comedy about. And Andy Samberg grows up to be the baby of the kid that was birthed in a famous sex scandal in the 80s.
And it's Susan Sarandon's daughter playing the young teacher when Sandler is a kid, and then they go visit her because she of course goes to jail, and it's Susan Sarandon as the older version.
See, no, I see how this works in the pitch room, and you go, let's make that movie, but then as soon as you film it, yeah, you're right, I can't imagine.
And Tony Orlando is in it. I mean, it is a train wreck.
What's great is that both Samberg and Sandler are still very close friends. They just did a bit together on SNL. They know they messed up. Like they celebrated hard and reference it often. That we made a really bad movie that lost a lot of money. So it's just this far. But
well, at least they learned something from it. I think that's important.
We have Pop Star and Hot Rod, which are both quite awesome and also for the Lonely Island podcast, it's just still an incredible podcast. It's an incredible podcast.
I agree with all of that. Oh yeah, I agree with all of that.
So
I haven't started on Paramount the Irish Mob Family with Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren and Tom Hardy.
No, I haven't either. I will though. Hot on the list.
Yeah,
what's the word on it? Is the word that it's good or?
Yeah, got good reviews. Okay. Tom Hardy playing
trailers look amazing.
Irish mob enforcer.
Yeah, trailers look amazing. Yeah. So I don't know if that's also a trailer.
Are you guys watching? What's that one movie with the drug dealers pretending to be FBI?
Oh, Drug Thief.
Drug Thief.
Is it Dope Thief?
Yeah,
Dope
Thief.
Dope Thief on Apple.
We haven't watched it yet.
It's on Apple.
Flipped out when she saw
it. The premise was so amazing, and this wasn't even like the main premise, but it's just drug dealers pretending to be DEI, so they can
DEA, of course, yes.
DEA, so they can go and just rob,
Fake arrest,
fake
drug,
arrest,
sure,
and like
drug
just
Take
confiscate a
everything.
bunch of drugs so they can sell for themselves. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so brilliant.
Yeah, and Paperboy
Did
from
you
Atlanta.
guys-
Yeah,
Did you guys on Hulu see Deli Boys?
That's on my list.
I want
I
to
really
see
liked it. I
Yeah.
really, really like it. It's
Good,
really
okay.
it's about a I believe, and forgive me people if I'm getting the wrong Middle Eastern country. I believe they're a Pakistani family that the dad owns a bunch of, and again, forgive the mixed metaphors of ethnicities, but like delis, bodegas, or whatever, and totally like rich kids, no responsibility at all.
Yeah.
All dad dies, and they find out that actually the bodegas are a front for trafficking cocaine. And they
Yeah.
got to get in the crime business
Yeah,
now.
so these two idiots have to get into their family crime business.
Yep.
And like they're
Very-
like
and
this fucking
Babu
insane
from,
badass. They're
yeah,
their
Babu
they just
from,
think it's like they're nice
yeah, it's very
like,
Tarantino-esque in a good way. And Babu, for
All
example,
right.
is like part of the extended family, and he's the only recognizable
Alright,
actor.
cool.
But everybody up and down in it is excellent. It's a
The
great.
lead of the show was on Comedy Bang Bang last week and did such an exceptional job selling the show that I put it on my watch list. I'm like, you ever like in the noise of our life hear someone go, yeah, you made me want to see that. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens to
And
me all
that's
the
tough
time.
now because a lot of trailers, I'm almost convinced, maybe I'm just too snobby, we're too snobby in our taste, but they almost seem like they make you want to hate the thing. So like sometimes you'll see a trailer and like, I can't tell, was this a bad trailer or does this barely represent the thing? You know what I mean? Like you're kind of stuck.
Well, there's quite a few things
Yeah.
that I'm shocked at this day and age do not lean into what's special about the project. They're going so middle of the road that you think it's almost like AI or one of those, Tina Fey's done that joke a couple of times where it's a commercial for a company that you can't tell what they make.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ingenuity, that's just buzzwords.
Innovation.
Innovation,
Yeah.
family, just things that don't, don't mean anything. And then, but while we're on the subject though, Taki, what was like your media? There's some media influence in this that isn't ET and anything like obvious, right? What were your media and or like real life influences for Alienated? And I'm not asking a loaded question that I know the answer to, even though it sounds like I do. But I'm
well, we
genuinely-
did talk briefly about like how it came about. Right?
Okay. I did miss the first
You
40
can catch
minutes.
him, but you can catch Brian up. It's all right.
Brian,
Don't
you
worry
don't know
about
the
it.
story. So like, I just had this picture in my mind of a bunch of like people on Earth all like wake up and like there's just dead aliens everywhere, and that was all I had, and that's where it started.
That's great.
But
Asimov was a big.
but yeah, like the science fiction part of the story, definitely Asimov, gods themselves, is a huge influence. But I'm pretty convinced that I've read that book so many times over and over again that like I don't think I have any original ideas. I think they were just like thoughts I had while I was reading it, like, oh, what if, and like, yeah, I don't think any of my ideas are original at all. I think it's
Well,
just
I would argue that
influencing me.
But once you put a what if on something, it becomes an original idea. Like
Yeah,
now
I
you're
know.
going down another
Yeah.
path.
And I always shake my head because like I that's my favorite thing in the world when you're reading or watching something that keeps engaging your imagination as a creator or writer. Not that you want to copy it, but it makes you think about these other things, and you're watching like kind of watching The Matrix the first time. You can't like stop every 5 minutes. And you're like, oh wait a minute, this makes me think of this whole other thing and stuff. And so I love that you have that book. There's a couple of films and stuff like that. That's for me. I'm sure everybody has those things. I know Reg was a huge influence on you, and like that's had to have you thinking about a lot of themes that I see in your work.
No, that's why I was so jacked up to mention the Good, the Bad, the Ugly podcast on Friday, because that's probably the one that's the most like crazy influential. And I hadn't I consumed it so fully in the 90s when I was making Jinx. Like Jinx is literally an adaptation of that thing. And I consumed it so fully on every conceivable level. And I literally ate the Laserdisc. I just like that I hadn't. I realized once I had agreed to do the podcast, I actually hadn't seen it in maybe over 20 years. So I rewatched it this week and was so excited that I loved it even more than I originally seen it. Like it is a beautiful piece of craziness, and it's so influential on me. Just genre, and it doesn't like so like when I'm talking about like your thing, it doesn't have to be about aliens, but just like they're like I'm shocked how much a Western influences my work when I don't do Westerns. You know, like it's like.
No
But
kidding.
the energy of that piece and the construction of it and the chances it takes and the choices it makes, all of them every second of it has influenced me.
Well,
So
I'll even say for Alienated, where it's similar but different. I remember when Paul Cornell was doing Saucer Country.
oh yeah,
Was, his series that kind of slowly came out. And I'll honestly say that while Alien starts in the same kind of place of this alien invasion, the fact that they're dead is a big mystery. And also,
yeah, they're very different. They're very different.
His story is more political, and I think yours is really more how it impacts this family, along with the rest of the world and everything, but really focusing on the family.
So I know enough about Taki to know that it's these quiet moments in the story that are the most like her, like the most like her truthfulness, like
That's cool.
The story engine is an excuse to get to the quieter moments of humanity.
Yeah, I think I described Alienated as like well, it's a global event, but I put like I pulled out like a telescope and like just really hyper focused on like this one family, and that's it. Even though it's affecting the entire world.
It's almost like the fallout of when she wrote Sleeping While Standing, the story of her life, and each event being told only in 4 pages. She got so good at nailing down what is the intention of a character or the story or a point of something. It changed the way that I wrote. And I think it had changed the way that you wrote, because this is very much like that, because it can be there's so many different things that you could be saying, but you really chose to focus on this family dynamic more than any of the rest of it. And the rest of it's cool. It's got little spots in there and stuff, but you just focus on this one thing, which is why I think it's special. I think that's why it stands out from the other sort of alien stranded and kind of things.
Well, thanks. But to be fair, it's definitely about Alien too.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's absolutely a mystery, and also and I don't want to give any details. I've read the first issue, but yeah, again, we're trying to figure out why they're there, and also perceptions of reality that may be different from the alien standpoint and the human standpoint. Is that oblique enough that I
No, it was
all right. I keep I do kind of feed a little bit of like clues throughout the whole thing, so absolutely, yeah, it's all there, absolutely. Cool. on purpose.
Cool. I gotta ask all right, I gotta ask all 3 of you, and also Brian, this extends to Elisa as well. The missed opportunity of that Section 31 movie with Michelle Yeoh. And I don't know. I don't know if the rest of you liked it, but man, that thing for me was just a big misfire.
And Mike and Taki know my wife Elisa, who is a big Trekkie nerd. I know that John hopes to one day get her on the air to unleash, because he get a sense that
not to browbeat her, but because
no.
Farscape and everything.
No, I believe you just want to turn on the microphone and let her rip, like just sit back and enjoy. But I will say that she does have a what I would say is a almost romantic soft spot for anything Star Trek, and she very will not find fault with stuff that I would find fault with, like Star Trek Nemesis, not that bad, and
there's parts of it that are okay,
But I will say that you and many other people had come to me with oh man, I wanted to love that, because it's you weren't coming at it with shitty attitude. You're like, hey, give me some good stuff, and it's not there, and which is always the biggest bummer when you're like your hopes are up and it's just not there. And for her to come into a room and go, God damn, that sucked. It's so unlike her, particularly with Star Trek. Then I went, oh, maybe you and John can finally get on the air So I have not watched it. I will probably never watch it, as life is too short, and who needs it?
Exactly.
But
Save yourself 90 minutes of grief. Absolutely.
yeah. But
Well, Mike,
go
go ahead,
ahead.
Brian. No,
No,
you
that
finish
was
your
it.
thought. I was going to say, Mike, like you were saying about they might get the wrong message from a movie like Minecraft. My fear is because it was so bad that Paramount's going to be, oh, they don't like standalone movies for streaming. Let's not do that anymore. And
Right.
sadly, I could see that being a boardroom, like, God,
Right.
again, and I don't mean to crap on some of these studios, but the outgoing Sony guy to go, well, the critics killed Madam Web. There was nothing wrong with that movie. And it's like, oh, yes, there was.
Brian
yes,
and I get
there
this
was.
messaging all the time. We'll have a project that is behind the scenes on a fast track, and then a movie, a television, a political movement, something goes, oh, it's not green anymore, it's red now.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a very. That's the one thing the studio is very good. The TV show, the studio is very good at showing is how reactionary and impulsive decision making can be. It's also why everyone's so rattled, and even watching that great moment with Scorsese in the pilot, because that's happened to him where they bought a project and buried it. Just this reactionary behavior is pretty standard.
I love that line at the end. We can't call him Marty anymore. It's Mr. Scorsese now.
Yeah.
When
pretty great.
the wide shot where you see him in the back literally crying because his movie is, and I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. Martin Scorsese is crying.
It's
actor too. Like it didn't feel like sometimes you have to make room for a non-actor to act it apart. He's great.
He's been really good in big movies for decades. He's in Akira Kurosawa movies. He's in Robert Redford's Quiz Show.
That French movie, Round Midnight.
Oh, he's so good in Round Midnight. Yeah. So he's been good in everything for decades. He Mike knows this. Like Sidney Pollack are these directors that started taking acting classes so they could be better directors, and then ended up finding that they were very strong presence on screen and quite liked it. Like Sidney Pollack is an incredible actor, right?
Tootsie.
But literally took acting lessons so he could talk to Redford.
Even before that, I know working with Lancaster, and I forget which movie, he was.
He was like not a failed actor, but found more success in this space and came back to acting. But these directors that literally study acting to be a better director is like for comic book people. If you're a good artist, you should study writing, and if you're a good writer, you should study art. Not to be good a good artist, but if you draw pages, if you're a writer who just draws some stick figure pages, you have a much stronger understanding of what you're asking your collaborators to do. It becomes much less.
It inadvertently makes you a better writer.
Yes.
As a result.
You're communicating yourself better. You're just using a better language. And I use Scorsese and Pollack as perfect examples of a rich creative life, because they use more than just their home base knowledge. They go seeking other knowledge. Yeah. And for comic books, letter your own book once. If you're a writer,
lettering
everyone
changed me.
Yep.
I am 100% a better writer just because I lettered Sleeping While Standing.
Yeah, and I can't imagine doing another creating our own book that I'm not lettering. Even if I hire a letterer to do the sort of sound effects and the fancy stuff, but I'm lettering everything.
I lettered all my books in the 90s, including the first 6 issues of Powers. I know the first 4 issues of Powers. Well, eventually Mike said, please stop this. And, but it was like, I remember like hand lettering Torso and going, oh, I don't need all these balloons. Like that's the best editors when you have to letter it yourself. You're like, you can really see how long in the tooth some of your writing can be if you're lettering it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the economy of dialogue, absolutely. And then I get that, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, then
Mario
the most important part,
Mario.
I was going to say real fast,
Michael.
Just finding the rhythm on a page, going back and forth between balloons.
Finish your thought, Mike. I apologize.
The
I'm just talking
business
over.
side, yeah.
Just
Yeah,
going
well,
back and
that's
forth
yeah.
on
Mario
business and
says that Brian, we all want to hear from the missus, not just Star Trek, but the business side of the industry. And then he says, if Johnny can get Steranko, he can certainly get Mrs. Bennett.
Well, to be fair, John has slept at our house. I don't think he slept at Steranko's house. So
That's true. That's true.
You know, so my wife has fed John, so that's
very true. Yes.
Yeah, so there you go. But just to be fair, I'm not calling her in here. She's out of town. But Mike and Taki know she's in Pittsburgh helping a sick friend. So we're
very nice. Well,
yeah,
that's all right.
That's the alibi
No.
that we'll all be repeating.
No,
yeah,
it's fine.
that's the story. We're all sticking to it.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
But if those interested in cursory examination of Elisa's business brain, there's a great chapter in Words for Pictures that's floating around online where Elisa deep dives into the pragmatic angles of the business of being a comic book and graphic novel publisher. And we will have her on Jinx World or here soon to discuss. We talk about her doing it because so much has changed since last we checked in with her, and she's very involved. We just signed a new graphic novel deal with one of the other publishers. Like the space has evolved, and part of our goal over the last few years is to evolving with it, and Phenomena is part of that. Our Dark Horse deal is part of that, but we have some other things going on that are very exciting and new for us. And the whole industry is evolving all the time, so it's hard actually to plant a flag and go, let's talk about it today, because literally if we said let's talk about it today, oh well, we don't know what's going to happen this week, so let's not talk about it yet. It's the evolution of our business in this moment is incredible, and the potential
changing quickly.
Diamond is gone. That's incredible.
I often talk to her, and consult her often on everything from finance to just contracts to anything.
It's incredible, but we will have. I'm just describing that the conversation is postponed due to constant eruptions in our industry. That we we're waiting to see what the fallout of Diamond is before we can talk about what. Let
alone as we started the conversation, Brian, with Mike and Taki about the tariffs and how that's going to impact trades from China.
Yeah, I said there's a lot of people on my Discord,
things like that, and the alternatives.
There's a lot of people on our Jinx World Discord talking amongst themselves about this, and I realized I hadn't jumped in because I literally don't know what's going to happen from day to day.
Sure.
So I feel I'm like everybody else. We're just I talk to my publishers all the time. We talk what's getting a sense of what the scope is, but we don't know if this all goes away tomorrow or if this is it forever. We don't know, and that's we'll see.
I was telling John earlier, if I did the After Realm this year, I don't think I could afford to do it. That 300-page with the slipcase and the shipping. It's a different model now.
Yeah.
My headline was, and I hope I'm not speaking out of school, but my publisher at Abrams said we have the 3rd volume of Phenomena is coming out in May as scheduled, and it's going to be the cover price it was scheduled at. But if it was scheduled for August, same book, $5 more a cover price, we don't get any of that money. None of that goes to the publisher or the distributor or the authors. It's just $5 off.
Covers the overhead.
Overhead.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's
shipping, even within the United States, where are the boxes made that you put the books in, the cardboard here? I don't know where that's made.
Yeah.
But it's not just the thing itself. It's everything the things are made out of, right? So even things that are made here, parts that are coming from overseas or over the border, and it's just unpredictable. Not even trying to be political. It's just unpredictable.
It's not politics. This isn't politics.
Yeah.
People say it's
politics.
No, it's hitting
finance.
It's affecting
economics.
Everybody's being affected by it.
Right.
It's all just economics, and it's terribly unstable. And it's not unstable. We know exactly where it's going. It's sinking.
Yeah.
So
hopefully it's a negotiation ploy. I mean, he's jerked around TikTok for that very reason, and also some of the other things that upset the apple cart in the early part of his administration. That again, he got people to the table, and I'm saying this as a liberal that voted against him. But again, it seems to be his method to strong arm, and then okay, well let's talk deal. And it's so funny how we were getting mixed messages post his announcement of the tariffs of, oh no, this is a negotiation ploy, and then he's like, oh no, we could talk, we can negotiate, and I can't wait for the I can't wait for the Penguins to negotiate with them about that one island that nothing is being produced on, and there's no people.
Well, they are wearing tuxedos, so you know
they must be rich.
World away.
They're at a fancy party.
Go ahead, Brian. I didn't mean to step.
I was just saying, there's a show on Disney Plus called Daredevil Born Again.
I was going to say, go on. Yes.
About a man named Wilson Fisk who has taken a position of authority and power, and we find out that everything he says to the public is contrary to what he's actually doing behind the scenes. And it's so interesting how there's always someone in power who does this. That is.
I texted Brian from the last episode, and I'm glad all the four of us are talking because you guys will appreciate it too. And I saw those pictures of Heather Glory, isn't that her last
Heather
name?
Glenn?
Heather
Glenn?
Heather Glenn. Thank you, man. Heather Glenn. Yes. And I'm like, oh, that's David's art. And then Brian's like, no, everything on there. Whenever you see Muse's paintings and stuff, that's all David.
It's
right?
truly one. It's an incredible gig. He's been whispering about it for a year, in that way where he's trying to express to us, his friends, I have the greatest job ever, without trying to either spoil it or jinx it or like. But he's been like in a very David way going, this is kind of and then like when we were watching I believe the third episode, where there was an enormous, like at least 16 pieces of really top tier David art on the walls and the paintings and the like everywhere you look there's some David home run painting, and I was like, oh Dave, this isn't just one or two pieces, this is you're like third build on the show. You got more screen time than the Punisher.
That's true right now.
And it was quite wonderful. Also, it's me and London are sharing the show together, and then there's Uncle David. Stuff is all over the place. And also, for those who don't know, David and I came up together. We would literally drive to conventions for years, just talking endlessly about Frank Miller's Daredevil. So for us to be at this stage in our lives, and there to be a high quality Daredevil show with both of our names in the credits is and for like the world to say, hey, all that Daredevil stuff you guys did 20 years ago, that wasn't a waste of time. It's a very excellent experience, and very like so next level. It's emotionally, it's hard to describe. Like that we even got the gig. Like David got to do Daredevil. I got to do Daredevil. We got to do Daredevil. We got to do Daredevil with Klaus. Then they make the show. David gets to work on it. They take the stuff I'm most proud of and adapt it. It's incredible.
Yeah, Brian, when the niece of the White Tiger shows up, I'm like, oh, that's Brian's. And then I read Wikipedia. It's like, actually, it's the fifth woman or the fifth person to be the White Tiger. I think her character in name.
No, but the whole trial of the White Tiger storyline was something I worked.
Oh yeah,
way too hard on. Like when you I remember like I kept calling my lawyer, who was all of our lawyer. I kept calling our lawyer Shep with legal questions as I was trying to make the argument that Matt would make. I didn't want it to be a comic book argument. I wanted it to be as close to reality as possible. And then I kept calling him up with questions. And then finally he goes, wait, is this isn't real life, right? I go, no, it's again. Yeah. Like I was taking it so seriously that he thought my friend was in trouble. But for the White Tiger, the reason I'd chosen White Tiger at the time was that character had actually not appeared in the comic in like over a decade. So I didn't think anyone would care. Right, that what the fate of the White Tiger was, one way or another. But that was a big lesson in representation.
At first I'm like, I was so excited to see White Tiger back because I used to get Deadly Hands of Kung Fu.
Oh, me too.
That's
But then it was a
And it's
perfect
like, oh,
character
man.
that was a peer of Daredevil that wasn't as successful as Daredevil, right? So,
Yeah,
but it did give me an opportunity
No, it
to
was
just
great.
kind of like recontextualize the White Tiger into the new character. And also, I lucked out that it's a legacy character. The amulet gets handed down. So it's not like, it's very well within the storyline that someone someone new would take the mantle. Anyway.
So yeah, everybody, you should reach back for not only Brian's obviously Daredevil run, but also that first story that he and Mac did, Wake Up, and also David's stuff with Casada before
Echo.
Brian got in the Daredevil.
There's an Echo TV
and
show.
Of course, Echo.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Oh,
but this Daredevil.
By the way, this is Roman.
That's
the other
right.
character.
Oh, hi, buddy. Aw.
Yeah, Roman and Stella will not show up on camera at the same time. They refuse.
No.
Pete Beiser, thanks, Bendis, for all the great Daredevil stories back in the day. They're giving great enjoyment again for the inspirations for the show. Loving it.
It's really awesome that people keep rediscovering that stuff and that it hasn't aged terribly. That is.
Well, I'm just relieved. I'm relieved that the new season of Born Again is another great season, along with the 3 Netflix seasons and stuff. So,
I don't think Mike and Taki have seen it. Charlie Cox is giving an incredible performance.
Nice.
Like I don't think he's getting nearly the credit for what he's accomplishing. It's a powder keg performance. Like, oh, this guy's going to explode.
Well, they did this amazing job, and I think
they
they had a great blueprint, which is that Matt Murdock is one of the few superhero characters who is as interesting as his alter identity as a superhero. There's not a lot of that goes on. Some are strong, but they're
and that's the thing. That's the thing, Mike. They are leaning, especially in a lot of because there's only. I don't understand. Are there 18 altogether, and they're breaking it up into 2 sets of 9? Do you know,
I think it's
Brian?
2 9s. Yeah.
Okay, because like literally other than the first episode, episodes 2 through 6 are a lot of Matt Murdock, and it's like good because it's just like what I always say about Superman or even Bruce Wayne. It's like, no, that's the untapped stuff. As Brian, I quote you all the time. We've seen the same fist fight a million times in 60 years of Marvel. What we haven't seen are the conversations, and especially Matt, like Brian was describing with the Hector Ayala case when he was writing the book and stuff, and also in the series. No, you are getting Matt Murdock, attorney at law. Good, because that's the interesting shit. So yeah, that's the stuff.
So you guys know they've set up a story premise where Matt Murdock can't be Daredevil and Wilson Fisk can't be Kingpin, and they're denying themselves their natural state.
Yep.
And you're just watching them completely unravel in their separate storylines, watching each other unravel, like keeping an eye on each other and fully knowing they are headed towards each other. Like this is, and also, and Vincent D'Onofrio is playing it like, oh, bring that sweet release of violence to me. It's an incredible bit of business. It's totally unique. It's much more like Breaking Bad than anything else that's
well, I look forward to catching it because that at least that first season of Daredevil was our favorite superhero thing.
Well,
probably
all 3 seasons on Netflix
were great.
Excellent.
I completely agree.
I can't wait to catch a new one.
And my fear was, given that it was on Disney XD, that we might get a kind of slightly more of a PG-13. Yeah. But it's like, oh no, this is our. And it's like, no, they're not holding back at all. And there's some great creepy stuff that's very violent and very disturbing, and that's great. And God, I'm going to see
Born Again storyline.
It's a different storyline.
So far it's a mix of our stuff with Alex and Charles Soule's Kingpin of Hell's Kitchen.
And that's what I was going to say. I'm going to see Charles this weekend at C2E2.
Awesome.
And also I think Charles has a new Daredevil miniseries that just started too.
Yeah, he's
him
and McNiven. Yeah.
You know, honestly, guys, and truly, I know, Mike, we could say the same thing about your Thor story back in the day as well. I'm always, because there have been so many different stories, it's hard sometimes. And there have been so many great runs of Daredevil that man, it really post Brubaker. I've just been amazed. Charles had an amazing run. Zdarsky just wrapped up his great run, and the current writer is killing it on Daredevil. And it's like it's such a relief that there are these new creators that still have something new to say about these characters.
But it's stressful. Even when back in the day when we got the gig, your first instinct is, oh, don't be the person that fucked up Daredevil. Like that, like any other book, fine, but not Daredevil.
Well,
like yeah.
I won't name names, but there is a very quality writer who pretty much everything else the creator did, I absolutely adored. Wasn't a big fan of his Daredevil. And these things happen. And again, it's timing. It's like you were saying earlier, Tak, there are. I always quote, oh, God damn it, French Connection director from Chicago.
William
Friedkin. Yeah. For a movie to go, he almost has a Bendis, or he almost has a Trump voice. For a movie to go right, 1,000 things have to go right. And he was absolutely right. I know Brett Brubaker appreciated it when that Danish filmmaker had a one-on-one with Friedkin was comparing himself to Orson Welles, and Friedkin eviscerates this guy. Like how dare you be that
was comparing himself to Orson Welles, like Lars von Trier or something, or
it wasn't von Trier. It was a current guy. I'll send you the link, Brian. It's on YouTube. Oh, and speaking of Welles, by the way, yesterday I was in Kenosha, Wisconsin, birthplace of Orson Welles, and I'll send you guys the photos from his house, and it's great. There's a rock in front of the house with a plaque that birthplace. I sent it to Parker and Gabe Hardman and those people that are and Andy Parks, because I know Andy especially is a big Orson freak. So
early on, one of the big influences on Powers was his Macbeth. It was so, because he had no budget on it. It was so black and white, so used shadows to do set pieces.
Yes,
it was weirdly very influential on Powers, like that heavy black and white, crazy.
Mike, did you ever read Bogdanovich's book, or hear the audio book? And it's not, again, I can send you a YouTube link if you haven't heard it, where you hear Wells talk about, we had no budget, our funding was, not only Macbeth, but some of the other movies. What do we do? Well, we'll have a scene in a steam bath.
I've watched a bunch of like documentaries about how he made it, because it's weird. Amazing. That again, it proves limitations can breed better art than like, here's all the freedom in the world, right?
Yep.
And sometimes like we've gotten heavy into putting limitations on ourselves. Like, how are we going to tell the story? It's only going to be through this prism. There's a bunch of different facets that you can tell the story through. Just choose one lane and stick to it.
Make a choice.
Yeah.
It might be this guy, Alex. I'm not sure. Nicholas Winding.
Well, that's someone who worked very close with Ed Brubaker for a couple
Then
years.
I believe that's the guy. Yes, that is the guy.
So that's I forgot the name of the show they worked on Amazon.
Yeah, it's a crime show that's on Amazon, and
I'm blanking. I'm so
there's no.
I wanted to. Do you? And again, forgive me for asking like an Ed question, but it's been tough to get it. Is he dealing with Post right now with Criminal?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't want to. My buddy was talking on one of the social platforms about how Chinese, getting all the books from China is going to really up the price for books. My immediate thoughts were for Ed, because Ed's been the guy the most that I've talked to about him and his Sean Phillips books. And it's on the proverbial, literally the slow boat from China.
It's everybody's books are on that boat. That's not an Ed thing. That's almost everybody. We'll see.
It's so big and crazy. Like you've heard, like the Nintendo Switch, which is a huge gaming platform. They just stopped it. They're like, we can't ship it now until we know what the price is going to be on this stuff.
Wow.
And it was already super expensive.
About an hour ago, as we're talking, literally before we got on here, the headline was their stock just plummeted into the ocean.
It's insane. I know, man. Jesus. Thank you, Alex, for giving me
that's the guy who directed Drive.
That's
which is excellent. And we've wanted him to make 7 more Drives, and he refused.
No, and in the meantime, he's comparing himself to Orson Welles, apparently. I guess for Switch, they're saying pre-orders. Pre-orders are going to be canceled.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
all right. I guess they can't commit on the prices that they, originally offered it for, right?
Yeah, we were just watching a video about somebody who ships products from China. That's his job. He's the shipper person. Actually, we know somebody else, Mary Brickthrower, who does this stuff. And he was breaking it down. And what this container used to cost was about $2,500 in tariffs and taxes and stuff. With the new ones, because it's not just the new tariffs, it's the old tariffs that were on it. So it went from literally just under $3,000 or $2,000 to $28,000
per
Jesus.
container. Yeah.
Damn.
So he literally was talking about how by his calculations that, you know, his company was bringing in about 5 to 6 million a year, and that's no longer going to be the case. And he's like, I am very certain that I'm not going to have this job by the end of the year.
Yeah. And if this thing works out where they build factories here, right? Well, who are they going to hire? It's all going to be automated. China already has what they call dark factories, which is just it's a combination of robotics and AI to build everything.
Yeah.
They're not going to be hiring anybody.
Well, even further, let's say they do even hire a labor force. It's going to take over a year to build the factory, and then we'll see what happens in the we'll see what happens in the midterms, and or even, you know, hopefully we will see a different administration that is kinder. But then, you know, no manufacturer is going to invest in a factory with the possibility that these tariffs will go away when it's a different administration. So it is kind of a bullshit premise that reality just doesn't measure up. And again, people won't know until, like, for instance, I'm a big Starbucks freak, and it didn't even occur to me until this weekend. My cup of coffee is going to be more expensive now because all those beans are imported.
Yeah.
Some of them we found out that the one that we like is actually made here.
Yeah, in Washington State.
So there's some coffee that's made here, but then there'll be shortages of it.
Maybe the packaging has to be like made overseas, and that's going to drive something is going to drive up the cost, right?
Yeah.
And I know this has nothing to do with comics or entertainment.
Well, it kind of does.
No, but you know what's interesting?
It does have a lot to do with.
You can always tell when the shit.
Yeah.
You can always tell when the shit really hit the fan when people who tell stories have decided to leave the planet to tell their stories. like famously, Star Wars is a reflection of Watergate. Hey, you know what? I don't want to hear anything about the real world. Take me to the desert planet with the whiny robots, and I'm so happy. Right.
Yeah.
So watching what's going on, particularly in comics and creator-owned comics, and the worlds that are being built by our friends and our peers and our heroes and all the up-and-coming creators, you get a sense of this, not to be over poetic, but Gene Roddenberry is a perfect example of, let me cry out and show you a better truth. Let me describe to you a federation of planets where everyone's helping each other, where everyone's communicating with each other. These ideas are not small. These ideas are revolutionary and inspirational and aspirational. So a lot of the times when we're talking about, and I'm bringing it right to your book, Taki, when you're doing a book like Alienated, you're telling a story about the world you wished you lived in, and the world you wished you're hoping you can manifest some of this energy into the world by putting it out there.
Absolutely, 100%. The best thing about being a storyteller is that you have control.
And you also get to say,
that's it.
Sure.
I think the world could be better. I think the world could be more interesting and fair. Let me describe a story. It doesn't have to be a story where there's no bad guys in it, but let me show you a story where the bad guy acts a certain way and this happens. Let me show you, and so these stories that have like a morality play in them, they become almost like a modern Aesop fable. That this is what happens when you do this, and then there's versions that are hopeful and there's versions that are vengeful, but they're all. Let me describe what I wish was happening versus
even prior to Roddenberry, Serling with the Twilight Zone. If you're listening and watching and have never watched the Mike Wallace interview that Serling does, because it's literally right before the Twilight Zone premieres, and he's like, you do high-end dramas that were, Peabody award-winning dramas. what are you doing in science fiction? And Serling really, because again, Mike couldn't see it, Wallace couldn't see it, and Serling is very eloquent about, no, I get to tell stories that I tried to tell real life political stories, and I kept getting censored. So now I can, and he's like, no, it's a great. He's like, that's sci-fi fantasies are great genres to tell real stories in and stuff.
Absolutely.
So just to rewind, I don't think it's not about comics to talk about this, because we're building things in this world. This is the world we're building. Taki built Alienated in this space that she lives in, right? So this is like, some of it will be reflected, some of it will not be obvious, and sometimes, and we've all experienced this, where you look at your work a few years later and go, oh, look what was bothering me. Like, you couldn't, it's not obvious, but unless you get some distance from it. And that's kind of my favorite kind of stuff. And certainly my favorite kind of stuff from other creators that aren't me.
Mike Clavin, good comment here. I worry about our friends who own local comic book shops.
Yep.
It's not like they can sell digital books if physical books become cost prohibitive. Yeah, man. And again, as we said earlier,
absolutely.
and we were just talking about how we don't know what the Diamond fallout's going to be, and
I do believe
deal with this.
Regardless of the other things, Diamond and their antiquated business model that was not at all helpful or supportive of small businesses and small press and small publishers. And hadn't been for a very long time.
Correct.
I was very lucky many years ago. Just whoever was publishing my work had left Diamond, like separate from my business dealings with them. So, like, from my time at DC on up, I have not been at Diamond, and thrilled beyond measure. And telling anyone who will listen, if you find yourself in a situation where you can get out from that. And again, Diamond wasn't bad to me, but I was aware this isn't a good space. Like, this isn't healthy. This could be better. Things keep changing. They don't change.
I saw it. I got to go to a couple Diamond summits through my friends who own shops, and I'm just like, hey, I'm going to be a fly on the wall. Well, I'm saying I would, yeah, but I'm not a creator, and and I'm not trying to I wasn't trying to publish books, but I'm like, I just want to observe. And sadly, I saw a lot of those antiquated business practices and the frustration from the stores.
Yep.
And they were the only, again, I mean, I was reading in the Cap City years and everything. And I just had Dom Simpson on, Megaton Man. And we're talking about the booms and busts of the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
And the 90s. And, Don, it got so bad in the 90s for Don, he stopped creating for a long time and went into teaching.
Well, didn't he was under another name at one point too? I forget.
Simpson, I didn't know that. It didn't come up in the
I think when he was doing like Wendy White Bread. All right, I have to say the full title. We're adults here. Wendy White Bread, Undercover Slut.
Fantastic.
Insane.
Oh,
fantastic.
I
forgot about that.
Beautiful art for this crazy.
Mike, do you not remember that was my go-to punchline for like 8 years?
I'm Wendy White Bread.
Like Mike had it at the tip of his tongue, like immediately.
That's what you married, Taki. Sorry.
Oh fuck! I totally forgot that's what the book was. I still forget what the other name. He had another name that he did Wendy White Bread under.
I didn't know that.
I was working in a comic store, and this was the heyday of erotic comics too. It was like early '90s, where Fantagraphics had an erotic line of comics. To which Wendy White Bread might have been part of, and every once in a while you see something so, like, again, the title Wendy White Bread, Undercover Slut. You go, is that perfect? Like, is that like no notes?
You just have to pick it up and read it and just find out.
I'm talking to Palmiotti on Wednesday, and certainly the pro will come up in conversation. Sure.
The pro is I remember it being far better than Wendy White Bread.
I think most of them are. If you do that kind of stuff with a certain amount of like you mean it, it can transcend this horrible thing, right?
Dying.
Because I did those books, and I didn't do them with any sense of like artistic whatever. Like, it was just all goofball stuff.
Sure.
Mike, this wasn't a diss on you, man. This wasn't.
The stuff I know exactly what I did. I was 18 when I did it, so
it was so appropriate.
Yeah.
But going back to Diamond, though,
Sure.
I came in trying to break into comics about almost 20 years ago, right?
Yep.
And even then, even from that perspective, like I didn't really understand how the industry worked or anything like that. But I'm like I don't understand like Diamond and its existence and its monopoly that I saw, but nobody wanted to admit it, right? And
No, they admitted it and laughed.
right, and like, and then
Yeah.
they would tell me like how wrong I am. Oh, you silly girl. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was sitting with a shop owner, and I'm not going to,
Say who.
I'll out this person, but they were like, yeah, the FBI came and like asked me about Diamond, and they were asking me if Diamond was a monopoly or if I thought it was a monopoly. And I told them, no, absolutely not. And I was like, well, why did you do that? And
No.
they were like, well, because if Diamond like went away today, the whole industry would collapse. And I said, I guess I don't understand. Right.
And that wasn't, by the way, that wasn't true. As if that was true, then it would be true. They
right,
collapsed
exactly.
and,
like now, in hindsight, now.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know, but back then I didn't know anything, so I was like,
but Talk also during COVID when we had pencils down for that moment, that was only 6 weeks, but it was a very significant 6 weeks, and it's before DC went to Lunar and some of these other distributors popped up. And
Right.
I mean, a lot of my good friends were in the middle, literally, of Marvel stories that that it got canceled. Well, they'll continue it. No, they won't continue it. It's done. And it's like, well, that sucks. So yeah. You know, I mean,
the best thing, obvious. I'm sure this is obvious to anyone on a pod like this, but the best thing you can do is support your local businesses, regardless of whether they're grocery stores or coffee shops. Hit the local, hit your neighborhood businesses. Order from them directly, pre-order if you can.
Yeah.
If you're not in a position to, tell them. If you can't pick up your books, let them know. Don't just bail on them. That's the worst thing you can do is set up a situation where they're sitting on inventory that they don't know if they can sell or not sell. But even coming to visit and picking up some of your books is better than just going, oh, I can't pick them all up, so I'll just bail on it, right?
Being a responsible, patron is a really important part of society, especially today. You know, and like we need the economy to keep flowing so that we can stay afloat.
Yeah.
Because and I know like a lot of us, just economies just changed so drastically for most people. It's shocking. So it's understandable that a lot of us have to make sacrifices in certain things and whatever. So as long as we're responsible and kind to each other and letting people know, like, I can't pick up all of my books, so just to let you know, I think that's really that is being responsible. So I think that's really important.
Like a lot of retailer friends of ours have said, like people, their impulse is, I can't buy them all, so I'll buy none. And you're like, oh, really? Because I'd rather you bought a couple. Like, honestly, I wouldn't even be mad about it. The other things.
Retailers know they're
even from the days when I was working in a store.
Pete Beiser says my buddy from kindergarten owns a LCS outside of Philly called Comic Universe. You're all invited whenever you're in town.
Mike and I met in Philadelphia at a comic book store called Claude's Comics that is no longer with us. But David, Mac, me, and Mike met at just a local signing. They had us all. So Philadelphia
in Powers, right?
Who?
Klaus?
Did you put it in Powers?
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
No,
Oh,
this is the years. This is before Powers. This is like literally
Caliber
he was
years.
working on Ship of Fools.
This is like
I was working on Jinx.
1997, 98
Yeah.
or
So
something.
thank you. Yeah, I may. I know this isn't Philadelphia. I might do a signing in Pittsburgh in May. So I might have dates lined up that I'll be able
Well,
to.
we're gonna have to schedule a Phenomenon Volume 3 conversation for May.
Hell yeah! You get
Yeah.
Andre on here too.
It'd be my pleasure. It'd be my
Yeah.
pleasure. And also,
Absolutely.
tell Alyssa, Elisa rather, my 20th anniversary coming May 10th. So that would be a nice little
So
anniversary.
you would like your 20th anniversary to be here just to talk about Section 31 for an hour and a half?
No. Again, no. But we can talk about the changes in the business from her perspective as well. But yeah, we'll talk Farscape. We'll talk about positive things. I won't just shit on. Again, that's guys, that's Elisa and I love Farscape, and Brian makes fun of us for loving Farscape. That's a great show.
Well,
That's you.
listen, Farscape is an acquired
Fiction,
taste.
or
I think
are
even
you
by
mostly-
sci-fi standards.
Are
Anyway,
you mostly into like sci-fi TV shows, or do you read sci-fi?
I do. Although
You
I
like
haven't
any show
lately,
where the alien puppets may or may not be fucking.
which is why it was great, man.
That is a criteria that I admire.
It's my favorite non-Muppet Henson adaptation. More than The Dark Crystal, more than Labyrinth. I liked Farscape.
Yeah, and for me it was just one. It was I'm a good husband. I'll give it a shot. I'll and as soon as the puppets came out and started making out, I go, yeah, I think this may not be for me.
It's like that Bill Hader, Seth MacFarlane bit where it's the puppet class and he's the Vietnam vet, or he's the Grenada vet, Tony. And Tony starts making out with what's her face's puppet, and then
the magic of the Muppets is that you never think about the people under the table.
Oh yeah.
On Farscape, all I can think about is the people under the table.
That one year at Comic-Con that I was there, two of the Muppeteers were walking around with Gonzo and the Red Fraggle. And I have this fantastic picture of me with Gonzo and the Red Fraggle, and we're all doing like scared look on our faces. And it's my nieces and nephews that are under teenage years. They're like, "Oh, that's so cool! You met the Muppets." I'm like, "Yes, I did."
Hey, Mike Flavin, was Claudia Black the one that was painted all blue, like light blue?
No, that's Virginia. Hey, Claudia Black was the raven-haired beauty that was the warrior.
Okay.
Yeah. And she also was on Farscape with Ben Browder.
Red Fraggle. Remember?
Oh yeah. When I was at Valve, the puppeteer for the Red Fraggle worked at Valve. Later on, went on to do computer animation, and a lot of them went into tech as well. So yeah, I forgot about that.
Cool. Sure.
I'm sure that guy made that up, and it goes. No one ever questions it. I just say I'm the red guy in Fraggle Rock. Like, who would lie and say that? Yeah. So,
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, we can wrap. No, we can wrap right now.
No, you guys can continue. I just got to go put kids to bed. But I did want to tell everyone a hi and thank you, and that Taki's excellent book, Alienated, is on sale Tuesday at Comixology Originals. She's been working on it for a long time. Look how cool that looks, and yeah, and certainly worth your time. So
beautiful John Brolia art in the interiors.
Yeah, and honestly, they're like a match made in heaven. Like you really, it's incredible. It's we talked about it behind the scenes how in sync they are. It's quite wonderful. So, all right, I love you guys. We'll talk soon. All right,
congrats on the podcast.
Hey.
Later. Excellent. There we go. Good. There we go. Good hang. Truly, guys. I mean, I'm glad Brian popped in, but I texted him just to watch, and he's like, "Oh no, Mike and Talk told me that if we want to dip in and everything."
Yeah, we always have good times together, so I figured stop on by.
Nothing makes me happier, guys, when the three of us or four of us all get together. And even throwing in a David Walker, even and more of the Portland extended family.
Yeah, we gotta get David.
Oh wow, yeah, he's.
I want to read David's new. I want to read David's new whatchamacall novel.
So good. His new Kickstarter. The death of Bobby Hart, the murder of Bobby Hart.
Yeah, the death of Bobby Hart. Yeah.
When he showed us the art from that, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? This is so good.
Yeah, my heart stopped.
Great story. One of David's best.
Yeah.
So check it out in the Kickstarter. I'll put a link down.
Hey, William.
Hey. Hey,
You
buddy.
got William? Is he a friend?
Yeah.
Yes, good friend. William's
That's
a good
cool.
friend.
That's cool.
Yeah.
William, you're gonna have to rewind because we're wrapping up, but I'm glad you jumped in. I always feel bad when people, and that's why it cracked me up when Brian's like, "So what was the inspiration for Alienated?" It's like, yeah, we did that. So
I did that.
I'm meaner to others.
The
Like a
other
lot of times, like
inspiration-
people in the chat will be like, "Hey, tell me about the new Superman book," and I'm like, "Rewind. We already did that."
The other inspiration for it is old men. Taki likes old men characters so much. It's her favorite thing.
It's
Throw an old
uncanny.
man
Like,
in a movie, a TV show, or you get a chance to write it.
yeah, I think I have an old man character in everything that I've written. There was that character named Old Man
Yeah.
in Rapture.
Yeah,
Remember that?
And especially if they're cheap for some reason.
Yeah, I love cheap characters.
Okay. You're getting a thumbs up. I don't know how these are happening, but they're cracking me up. So that's fantastic.
But somebody actually pointed out something interesting. It's like, oh, I guess it makes sense that like Taki is coming out with, a comic with like aliens in it because,
House of Aliens here.
yeah, House of Aliens, and I'm like, yeah, right. Well, because that's all we talk about. So that actually makes sense, which is really weird because like the science fiction stuff that I love is not the same as like his
The
interest.
pop culture woo stuff.
Yeah, his interest in like aliens and paranormal stuff.
Sure.
But they are also the same.
They overlap for sure.
They do overlap, but like I tend to like that kind of stuff only because I grew up reading science fiction. That was my bread and butter. Like I just loved it. It was what I lived for, woke up for. I lived it,
Yeah.
And then like then I was also interested in like alien phenomenons and like UFO phenomenons throughout my childhood, and I've been burned so many times that I'm a little bit cynical about it, but I still hope, right? Like because you always hear like TV shows like we finally have like evidence of aliens and like tune in at 8:00 and you tune in and like by 9:00 you're just like nothing happened. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but as we've seen in the last couple of years, I don't even remember what they call UFOs now because they don't call them UFOs anymore.
UAP, yeah.
Okay, yeah, UAP. And we got that weird footage of, whatever that flying machine was. It sure as hell doesn't look like a stealth bomber or anything like that. And it's like, come on. So yeah, they're there you go. As Mike Plavin says, he's attributing the Fox Mulder quote to you.
I
want to believe
that's absolutely me. Like I am 100% like 100% half of Mulder and half of Scully.
Yeah, even for me, for as deep in it as I am, I want to believe.
Yes.
It's not that I do, and I'm paying attention to all the stuff going on,
Yeah.
and it just seems like the old formula is being repeated over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like the if you want to disbelieve in UFOs, the best thing you could do is do research on the UFO community.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or you just kind of, I always think like, I think aliens absolutely exist. But I have a hard time believing that like they're coming here on a spacecraft and like, and if have that kind of technology and they come here, I think they have they have it figured out that so that we can't detect them if they don't want to be detected. So there's that. And if they are choosing to be in contact with any Earthlings, why just the United States government? Like that makes no sense. So, logically speaking, like I'm like, well, I don't know. I think they exist. I think they're around, but we may not be able to perceive them, maybe. I don't know.
It's funny. I literally last night I was watching YouTube, and a lot of times old boxing stuff will pop in my feed because I'm a boxing guy. And it was an 72 or 73 interview with Ali and Ken Norton on The Tonight Show. And it was before their second fight. and first Norton's out separately, then Ali comes out, and right away, as soon as he sits down, he's like, Johnny, you know, UFOs exist. And it's great because it's a 1973 perspective on, I don't know, Johnny, I keep seeing photographs and, you know, John, well, you know, of course, if they did exist, don't you think X, Y, and Z? And it's like, well, I know, Johnny, I keep seeing photos and I don't know how to explain them.
Yeah.
And it really, literally, like the first 5 minutes of the conversation, nothing but Ali talking about UFOs. Hilarious.
That's beautiful.
And I know
love
Jackie
that.
Gleason. I know Jackie Gleason was a big UFO believer as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
supposedly him and Nixon went to go look at bodies or some crazy
Yes.
stories go around like that.
Yeah. See, Mike and I bonded. Like both of us
Yeah.
loved Chariots of the Gods, Eric Von Daniken.
Oh yeah, no, we read that together to each
There you go.
other.
Yeah. Sure.
That's our love language.
But then you do enough research, you find out what a horrible translator he was. And then you, oh, crap.
And also, then he shows up on Ancient Aliens. He's like, I never said it absolutely happened. I said it could have happened. And it's like, yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is you were selling a shit ton of books and, you know, the Rod Serling narrated documentary back in the day. You know,
Yeah.
could these
Well,
strange markings
it's
on the earth
something that
be?
like you can't prove something that like that
Can't
you-
be proven.
well,
There's
yeah,
no answer for it. So yeah, who's to
Right.
say?
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
always wait. We know. I was thinking you can always disprove something that you
Sure.
can't prove, right? So this will never have an answer unless like we literally have, you
A
know,
personal experience.
like
Yeah.
they land in front of you and they shake
Sure.
your hand and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like until that happens, like
Right.
you know, could be anything. Could be anything.
We need that.
So-
We need that photo with an alien. The way that great photo of Nixon and Elvis, and Elvis stepping on the outfit and the cape
Yeah.
on and stuff. That's what we need. Exactly.
Yeah.
So here, William, good final comment. He goes, so incredibly excited for Alienated. Any bit of Taki writing that's put into the world makes a day brighter. There you go, man.
Oh, thank you.
William.
There we go. Well, we can wrap, guys. Oh, wait a minute. And half the population will still say it didn't happen. Yeah, fake news. That's
Oh,
right.
of course. Yeah. I'd have trouble
Stab the
believing it. Like, yeah, it's complicated. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But
I
at the end of the day, I want to believe because I don't know, what's life without some whimsy? I don't know.
No, I get it. Well, and also just that for us to be so conceited that we're literally the only intelligent life in the galaxy is ridiculous. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mike, have you had a chance? And maybe we've talked about it before. Mike and I, as Taki well knows, and Mike knows, Mike and I did different episodes of a TV show called The Unexplained that Jimmy Church was the host of. And every now and then there's a digital channel that if you pull in digital channels, it's called Story. And they have a lot of old produced for the History Channel and A&E network programs. And I'm sure you get just as many emails as I do, Mike, because when they run it on Story, it's like, hey, your show is on. And that's how that's how my fans are. Your show is on. I'm like, oh, that's great. So, yeah. I'm sure you get the same kind of emails. When
Sure. Yeah. I'll get a heads up every now and then that somebody's seen it. It's like, was that you?
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. And also, I meant to say earlier when we were talking about Celebrity Apprentice, it was like you guys had to make comic books for the online shoe company Zappos, right?
Yeah, I was trying to find footage of it. The closest thing I found, though, I found a stand-up of Tom Green talking about the experience. And let me tell you, whatever you think of Tom Green as a performer or pop culture stuff, whatever, he is a great human being.
That's great, man.
He was the only real person there that I spoke to. He helped me make the comics while everybody else was doing other stuff and whatnot. He would turn that personality on that you either like or don't like when the cameras were on. Cameras are off, and he's just like you and I. And yeah, so that's the main thing I just want to say about that was he was just a great, really nice person. And I won't forget that.
Yeah, and that's literally exact words that came out of his mouth back then. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. So that was an awesome experience.
Well, again, us American citizens know that most of our Canadians that we encounter are very good people, and unlike the administration that decided to make that. I'm bummed because Zdarsky has become a good friend through Fraction, and they're back when they were doing sex criminals and stuff, and it bums me out because during the first term and stuff that Trump was in, he's like, I'm not coming down there, man, while that guy's in office. I'm like, I get it. Yeah. So now it's going to be another 4 years where I get to see Chip face to face and stuff. It bums me out, man.
Thanks, Trump.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, again, everybody, this Tuesday from Comixology, you can pick up Alienated with this beautiful Mike Oeming cover, great John Broglia art, and wonderful words and story from Taki Soma. So way to go.
I hope I don't disappoint.
I can attest. I've read it. It's great. It has the word balloon recommendation for what it's worth. Thanks. And yeah, man, good stuff.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Next show, I believe, is going to be Jimmy Palmiotti, as I mentioned, on Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
And if you're going to C2E2 this weekend, I will be there all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I will be moderating the Svengoolie panel on Saturday afternoon at 5:15. So if you're coming to Chicago, make sure you say hello to me.
Yay!
Cool.
Yay! Until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.
Hey, dude.
Wait, no, we're still on.